What if the scariest thing isn't being chased through the woods like an animal, but realizing the home and family that made you feel human could be taken away in a single night of smoke and silence? That bitter taste of ash on your tongue, the sharp smell of burning wood like a funeral pyre, the cold touch of rain on your fur while your heart screams you might never belong anywhere again. That question burned in my chest during episode 11 of the Darwin Incident, titled Transfer of Ownership, which dropped on March 18, 2026, and streams exclusively on Crunchyroll and Prime Video. We're deep in the season's escalating war between science, terrorism, and humanity, right after the last episode's daring rescue left everything hanging by a thread. The lab-born paradise of normal life for a half-human, half-chimp boy now cracks open into raw loss and flight, like stepping into a dark forest where every shadow whispers questions about who owns you and what makes you real. I sat there gripping the remote, heart racing like I was the one running for my life. What terrible truth about family and freedom waits in the flames. You'll only feel the full weight if you watch, and that aching need to know will pull you in like a trap you can't escape. This episode flows straight from the high-stakes rescue in the previous one, where Charlie risked everything to save Lucy from the ALA's grip. We follow him racing home only to find horror waiting. His house engulfed in flames, his parents trapped inside. No big spoilers here, just know the tension shifts from action to heartbreaking survival as Charlie makes desperate choices. The police close in, and an old enemy slips away in the chaos. It moves like a sudden storm after calm, carrying the pain of lost safety straight into this new nightmare of being hunted. You feel the shift in your bones, the same way real-life tragedies, think families waking to disaster in old war stories or people losing everything in a single fire that changes history, turn ordinary days into a fight for who you are. Let's go deeper. This episode hits like a punch you don't see coming. The plot surges forward with raw, emotional balance. The early chaos explodes with panic and loss, then slows into quiet, gut-wrenching decisions that change the whole story. Key revelations drop hard. Old threats return, new dangers rise, and a cliffhanger leaves you breathless and scared for what comes next. The pacing is perfect, mixing fast terror with slower, heavy moments that let the grief sink in. Fans on Reddit and forums have been asking the same, cloudy questions. Was the fire really an accident? Why does Charlie suddenly feel like he has no rights? And what happens now that a certain dangerous figure has vanished? Drawing straight from the original manga by Shun Umezawa, this adapts the intense unowned property to transfer of ownership arc around chapters 18 to 19. Here's the clear truth without ruining the anime's power. In the source material, humansies like Charlie are legally treated as property under old lab rules. No full human rights, no real freedom. The fire wasn't random. It ties into bigger forces trying to erase evidence and frame the ALA, forcing Charlie into a legal battle where someone must own him to protect him. The missing enemy? It sets up a manhunt that tests every bond. It all clicks now. This isn't just a sad fire scene. It's the story showing how power, morality, and survival twist when society decides who counts as human. Previous episodes built the rescue and friendship. This one rips the safety net away so the bigger fight for identity feels painfully real and urgent. The characters break your heart with their depth. Charlie, voiced by the amazing Itsumi Tanizaki, carries the weight of the episode. His hidden wound is the fear of never being seen as a real son or person, but his growth here turns innocent strength into fierce, desperate survival. His choices feel consistent yet shatteringly new, like a boy becoming a fugitive in one night. Lucy, Mitsuho Cam, shines in the quiet moments of reunion and worry, her loyalty pushing her to risk everything again. Philip Graham, Yoji Ueda, steps in with calm wisdom that feels like a lifeline, his offer carrying surprising warmth. Their dialogue is sharp, raw, and full of heart. Lines land like quiet promises in the dark, carrying weight that echoes after the credits and foreshadows pain you'll carry too. The themes cut deep and true. Power over who owns life, morality in a world that treats hybrids like tools, sacrifice for the ones you love, and hope clashing with despair when everything burns down. You see it in every frantic step. How far would you run to stay free when the world says you belong to someone else? It hits like classic stories of people fighting for their humanity in history. Think slaves seeking freedom or families torn apart in old tragedies. But here it feels personal and close. World building grows darker and richer. New layers on the laws treating humansies as property turn the story from adventure into a mirror of real-world struggles over rights and identity. It complicates everything in the best way, making survival feel earned through tears and courage. Visually, it's powerful under Belknap's films with with art director support and character designs by Shinpei Temuka. Colors shift from warm home tones to harsh oranges of fire and cold blues of the woods. Lighting and shadows move like living threats, stillness freezing the grief while quick cuts explode with panic. The animation flows smooth and emotional, every flame and tear packed with feeling. Director Nakatsu Suda and series director Katsuchi Nakayama use tight close-ups on shaking hands and wide shots of the burning house to mirror the inner storms, just like the raw tension in powerful drama scenes. The soundtrack by Elisa Okahazuma and Mariko Horikawa becomes a living heartbeat, haunting strings and soft motifs rise like distant cries, burning into your memory. Silence after the flames speaks louder than any roar, letting the loss sink deep. Voice acting brings the souls to life. Atsumi Tanizaki as Charlie pours raw, trembling pain into every breath. Her timbre shakes with fear yet burns with quiet strength, embodying a boy whose world just shattered. Mitsuho Kam as Lucy adds warm, worried intensity that feels like real friendship in crisis. Emotionally, this episode left scars I can still feel. It made me feel the crushing ache of losing home, like standing helpless as fire takes everything you knew, mixed with sparks of wonder at characters refusing to break. The key moment feels like destinies colliding in the smoke, a breaking point that shifts everything from rescue to a fight for the right to exist. It echoes questions we all carry. Who decides if you're family or property? How do you keep hoping when the world tries to own you? I personally finished with a heavy heart, wondering how one boy's loss could hit so hard. Sure, some might say the shift to slower grief feels heavy after big action, but that's no flaw. It's deliberate, like the quiet after a disaster that forces you to feel every emotion just as Charlie does. The weight mirrors real life. The hardest parts often come when the running stops. Episode 11 succeeds completely, blending raw loss with deep questions, pushing the story forward while leaving you desperate for what's next. Its strengths, those heartbreaking performances, powerful visuals, clear lore payoff, far outweigh any small stumbles. Weaknesses, only if you want easy hope, and this show never promised that. So here's the truth that lingers like smoke in the air. The real incident isn't the lab or the fire. It's wondering if a boy like Charlie will ever be free to call anywhere home. Will you step into those burning woods and rainy shadows with him, feel the weight of his choices in your own heart? One click on Crunchyroll, and his story becomes yours. You won't just watch, you'll carry his scars, and you won't be able to look away.